If somebody told me I look like a celebrity, I'm gonna let them say that. I'm not gonna go around saying, oh, people say I look like this person, because 9 times out of 10 you really don't. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Love is Blind Season 6, Episodes 1 and 2. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, y'all, we're back at it again. Okay, y'all asked, and I am delivering. So I've caught up on a few episodes, and I wanted to get on here and talk about it. Hopefully this season is better than that travesty last season. The show really has been getting worse and worse and worse. But last season really took the cake. They literally had to cut half of that season out because they tried to erase one of the couples from all of the footage from that season. So we didn't even get to see 2 of the couples that made it to the vacation and 1 couple that made it down the aisle. It was a lot. And then the couples that we did have were full of struggle. Some people were psychotic. That whole love triangle featuring people that already knew each other before this whole situation, just like very weird situation. Like, honestly, they really should have scrapped that and started over. Like, as soon as they had some people come in that already knew each other, either immediately eject them or start over from scratch. And also, we've been screaming from the rooftops talking about how the show does the black women on the shows. They'll use them in the promotional material, have them in a trailer or whatever, but we'll barely get to see them date anyone. They'll even make it to proposals. They don't even include some of the black couples so far in this season. And I'm just going to address episodes 1 and 2. But so far, I feel like they're kind of falling into that same pattern. Yeah, we're following AD, a black woman, but I feel like there are other black women on the show that we haven't seen anything from. We see them in the background. We see them hug people when they come in crying. We see them, be the funny friend on the side. We see them giving their friends a pep talk in the pods, but we really don't get to see them date. I shouldn't even be expecting anything more at this point. I feel like I've said these things over and over, so I'm not just going to continue to go in on Nick and Vanessa. I really don't even mind them in the beginning. I don't mind them hosting throughout the season. It's the reunions that are annoying. They come in, really, Vanessa comes in with this unhinged behavior, defending all the mean girls at the reunion and villainizing the people that have a problem with the mean girls and trying to force babies on people they just met. It's just so annoying. And then we see her husband on the side cracking corny jokes. Oh, I like to watch football late at night and she hates it. Oh. Anyway, let's get to Let's get into these episodes. I'm just going to get the couples that we just didn't really get much from them. We kind of saw them meet each other and, get to know each other. We're kind of seeing like little love triangles form. I'm going to get the ones that just didn't have much going on out of the way. Let's start with Amy and Johnny. Amy said that she moved here at 5 years old from Puerto Rico, and because she was different from everyone that she was around, she spoke a different language. She had a hard time making friends. And at one point, her father had to beg people to come to one of her birthday parties. And she said, like, every time he tells me that story, he just breaks down crying. And I'm just like, why would you ever tell her that? That's something she never had to know. I would just spare my child the embarrassment. Like, even though that's a real thing that happened, I just wouldn't even want to tell my baby I had to beg people to come to her party. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, it traumatized you, but imagine what it's doing to a young girl. But yeah, she just never felt that she fit in, and she just wants to be loved for who she is. She has this very special relationship with her brother. It turns out her brother is autistic, and her father is, I don't know, did she say anything about her mother? I'm sorry if I missed what she said about her mother, but her father is the guardian for her brother, and if anything were to happen to him, then she would step in and take care of her brother. And she wanted to make sure that whoever it is that she's going to be in a relationship with knows that, because that's a very big part of her life, and she would need a partner to be supportive for that. Because what if he has to move in for a while? Even though he wants to be independent, he might need to move in with her for a while. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw Johnny, because Johnny is the guy that she connected with, I wasn't all the way, I don't know, I just didn't know that I believed in him. I think it was the haircut for me. He kind of reminds me of that guy from Dumb and Dumber with that haircut. I'm not saying he's dumb. I'm not calling him dumb. That's what that haircut reminds me of. The more and more they talked, you could see the chemistry. And oh yeah, we had another cringy singer in here. Somebody that can't sing but wrote a song and want to sing it to their partner. They were getting along so well that he just was talking so fast, he just blurted out that he loved her, and that was like a huge moment for them. So it was obvious that he was going to go ahead and propose to her, and you know, they had a cute little love story. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna hate on them. I hope they make it low-key. So let's move on to Kenneth and Brittany. Kenneth is a principal and Brittany either is a teacher or used to be one. But what threw me off the most about them, he's 25 and she's 24. I just did a video not too long ago discussing Gen Z and how people say that Gen Z is looking older than they should look. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. They're very faith-based. They are God-fearing, and that's something that they bond over. He's a praise leader, I believe. They kind of alluded to really believing in traditional roles. She says that she wants to be submissive and she wants the man to lead. Unfortunately, when he was 12 years old, his mother passed away from cancer. He said he went from having a great childhood to it kind of going downhill after that, and they really endeared Brittany to him. Another thing they discussed is both of their mothers, I believe, were twins. So his mother, who passed away, she was a twin, and her mother is a twin, but her aunt passed away tragically in a car accident. A year after that tragedy happened, she was born on their birthday. So obviously that was very symbolic for them and a beautiful thing. They just bonded. I hope it wasn't trauma bonding, because that's how I felt, but they both bonded over their parents being twins and losing one of them. They seemed like they were hitting it off pretty well, and you know, we'll just see how this goes moving forward. How do I want to go about this? This is not even a love triangle. This is a love square. So I think I'm going to start with Chelsea. So Chelsea is a flight attendant and an event planner, and she is interested in both Jimmy and Trevor. She said that she never went to college, just trade schools. I really don't see any shame in going that route. I feel like a lot of people waste time and money going to college sometimes when you could have just got a trade and be making just as much, if not more, than someone with a college degree. It's just the truth. They did have a little dramatic moment where she told him that she had been married before at 18 and it lasted about 5 years. It was her high school sweetheart. She was just really young. She thought she knew what love was, and she didn't. And at that time, Jimmy had already had a huge bomb dropped on him earlier. We're going to address that later. But he already had a huge bomb dropped on him. So I think he was still flabbergasted from that one to really even be bothered by what she said. But I guess the reaction wasn't what she wanted from him. So she just started bawling her eyes out and took it as like a rejection and ran out. So she ran into the arms of Trevor, and Trevor is a big buff dude with a mullet. They always have a goofy frat boy trope every season, and he's definitely that one. He sounds like a gym rat, but he wants to be deep. Like, he has this desire to want to be more than that, but I just didn't really get more than that from him. But he seems like a nice enough guy, but he's all about Chelsea. He's into her 100%, and you know, they seem to have a good connection. So she had this moment with Jimmy. She ran to Trevor and she let Trevor know that she had been married before, and he was like, okay. He didn't understand like what the big deal was. Okay, you were married before. Eventually she did come back to Jimmy, and you know, when she realized that he didn't take it the way she thought he did, she apologized. Then at some point she let him know that people always told her that she looks like Megan Fox. And I'm going to put up a picture of Chelsea and Megan Fox. And I really feel like it was a huge mistake for her to say that. When you're talking to somebody on the phone, you're imagining on the phone. When you're talking to somebody in these pods, you're imagining what they'll look like. And if you give them like a false sense of what you look like, you can easily come off as a catfish. And then she would say, but I don't think so. I don't think so. But you know that's why you told him. You know you told him you look like Megan Fox because you wanted him to be impressed with how you look. If somebody told me I look like a celebrity, I'm going to let them say that. I'm not going to go around saying, oh, people say I look like this person, because 9 times out of 10, you really don't. So I've mentioned Jimmy before, and he's a software specialist. A lot of the women really liked Jimmy. Like, he was very popular with the girls in the pod at first. He said that he grew up with not that much money, and he was the first person in his family to graduate college, and they didn't even encourage him to go to college. They thought it would be a waste, but he made something of himself, and I think that says a lot about him. And he ended up connecting with Jessica. And Jessica, if y'all watched my first impressions of the cast video, this was the one I was most shocked by, because this is the first time, I believe, this show ever had a single mother on the show. I'm just gonna be honest and straight up with y'all. I really don't think it's a good idea for single parents to come on the show. I just don't think it's a good idea to meet a stranger who you want to marry and bring them around your children. I don't think that's safe. I think as a parent, you should vet someone out for longer than a week or a couple of months before you just go bringing them around your children all the time. It's not that single mothers can't date. I don't see anything wrong with single mothers dating. It's just when you get married, that child is gonna be in the presence of this man living in the household. And that's a lot when you don't even know somebody for real. We've seen how majority of these relationships work out. We've seen crazy people come through these shows before, and you're gonna subject your child to that. That's not cool. We just heard too many horror stories of how adults treat children for you to put your child in a line of fire like that. And I'm not trying to insult her motherhood or anything. I'm sure she's probably a great mother, but I just don't think it's a good idea to start having single parents on this show. I just don't agree with it. And like I said, it's nothing against her as a person, but I'm just thinking about the child. From the beginning, she said that she's going to wait to tell the person that she's talking to because she doesn't want that to overshadow. She wants them to get to know her before, knowing that she's a mother. That's something else I don't agree with. I feel like that's a little bit manipulative. Why are you letting someone get to know you, start to like you, and then drop a bomb on them? So now they'll be a little bit more conflicted when it comes to whether they want to continue the relationship or not. Whereas if you gave them the decision from the jump, you might not have as big of a pool to choose from, but at least you'll have somebody that for a fact doesn't mind you being a mother. And it's unfair to the other person too, because it's like, if I don't want to date someone with children, I deserve to know that up front before we start getting in that deep. And I know the people in this process don't expect for there to be parents in the mix, because there never has been. Maybe I feel strongly about this because I've been fooled that way before, where I've talked to somebody for a few weeks and then all of a sudden they tell me they have a child. I feel like that's very deceptive. I don't agree with it. Like I said, she ended up liking Johnny, and they talked for a while before she told him. I wish they would have told us how many dates they had or how many times they talked before she actually revealed this to him. But she said that she has a 10-year-old, and he got quiet, and he kind of felt away, like asked her, why didn't you bring this up sooner? And once again, I wanted you to get to know me, blah blah blah. And he said it's not a deal breaker because he likes her already, even though he was saying that, he came off as hesitant. She went ahead and gave the breakdown of how she got pregnant in her senior year of high school, and it was her high school sweetheart. She wasn't just being fast. She had to let y'all know that. And so he ended up asking her the question, well, do you want more kids since you already have one? He was like, I definitely want to have my own biological children, and she said yes because she loves being a mother, especially to her child. He ended up letting her know that both of his parents were widowers. The child from his mother's first marriage was the daughter of her husband that is now deceased, and she took her own as her own daughter. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. And she went ahead and told her story about her biological parents being drug addicts, and her father was in and out of prison and eventually ended up taking his own life. And I forget what she said, what happened to her biological mother, but she basically grew up in foster care, but fortunately was adopted at 16. And as you know, she had a baby in high school, so that ended up working out really well, because if she were in the foster care system, having a child as a minor, she wouldn't be able to keep her child. So it was a blessing for her to have that foster family take her in. Once again, trauma bonding. They are into each other, but it's a love square, like I said, so we'll see how that goes over the next couple of episodes. Finally, let's talk about another love triangle: AD, Matt, and Clay. First, I'm going to talk about Matt. Matt is a wealth management advisor and immediately was giving off weirdo energy from the start. He was very monotone, very cold disposition. Like, even through a wall, he was turning women off. Like, he was asking hard-hitting questions, but didn't anticipate somebody throwing it back to him, and he didn't even want to answer the question. He was being very analytical, as if this were a job interview, like so which question would you like to answer? Give me a number 1 through 12 and I'll ask you the question. And then one girl was like, well, let me answer number 4. And he was like, well, a bunch of people have asked for number 4. Why don't you try another one? It's like, jerk, I don't even want to answer your little stupid, ugly questions. I was trying to humor you. Like, it was so bad that he would get bored while people was talking, and he would literally get up and walk out on them in the middle of their conversation. Y'all could say anything y'all want to say about this man. He's rude, and that was nasty for you to get up in the middle of somebody talking. You could at least said, I just don't think this is gonna work, something, but you just left this person talking for you to leave. That's rude. So I really wasn't seeing it for him since day one. Like, why are you here if you don't want to interact with people? If you don't really want to get to know, get out. Like, they clearly added him because they knew he was going to cause some tension. So then he met AD, who is a beautiful, very bright, upbeat personality. Like, she's a cheerleader, and she really does give me Diamond vibes from season 1. Diamond was a cheerleader as well, and y'all know men love cheerleaders. They love that fun, bubbly personality. When he met AD, you know, he finally was nice and ready to open up. Or was he just nice to AD? Because we didn't see him in the room with the other girl he liked, but we're going to get to it. He said that he's from a small town and he doesn't show emotions. I don't know what that has to do with being from a small town, but that was his excuse. And he said that he had just started going to therapy a few months ago. He definitely needed to. And he said his therapist was shocked he was going to come on a show like this. And I bet his therapist was just sitting at home shaking her head watching this episode. They were complete opposites. You know, she's fun and outgoing. He seems to be very introverted and, you know, mean. But somehow it worked. They connected and she was interested. So speaking of AD, she's a cheerleader. So obviously she's around a lot of players. And she said that's what a lot of her ex-boyfriends were. I'm guessing in the literal and figurative sense. So she says she's really trying to get away from that. Then I don't know why she gravitated towards Clay, because he seems like the definition of a player, and he said as much. You know, he has that really smooth radio voice. Does he do radio? I didn't pay attention to what he does for a living. He said something that was a huge red flag to her. He said that he wanted a cat because he doesn't want to have to show love to them all the time. So you want to neglect your animal? Yeah, that would definitely have me giving that a side eye. Like, so you just want to take your love back whenever you feel like it. He definitely has a huge ego, and he said he learned his player ways from his father. And he also said that he was never chosen by any of the women that he actually wanted. And she also likes the fact that he admits to being a jerk. It's like he's supposed to get a cookie for that, or brownie points. Girl, who cares that he's still a jerk? That doesn't stop him from being a jerk. That doesn't mean he's going to change, or he's trying to change. A lot of men are honest about how they are. That don't mean they're going to treat you better than what they did in the past because they're honest about it. He ended up bringing up appearance and that he just doesn't see himself proposing to a woman without seeing her first or knowing what she looks like. And she was completely turned off, as she should have been, because literally the whole point of this process is to not be shallow and have a deeper connection that transcends looks. But he is giving Shake vibes. I don't know if y'all remember Shake from a few seasons ago that ended up choosing deep tea. He was an Indian, but he had never dated an Indian woman. And then he was constantly bringing up weight. I'm sorry. I'm getting those vibes from this man. I really have to give AD props because she was not going to sit there and sell herself to him and tell him, I got a big butt or whatever. And she does. She got a small waist and a big butt. But she didn't sit there and try to sell herself to him. And I appreciate that about her. I just really wish she would have dropped him at that point. That's my only critique. After that situation happened, she runs back to Matt, and he's telling her everything she wants to hear. He's only here for her. He's really laying it on thick, love bombing, if you will. He told her that this is a difficult situation because he wants to be able to ask for her hand in marriage for her father. And she let him know that her dad passed away. So that's not possible. She even gave kind of a dark joke like, oh, I don't think he'll think much now. She also said that she wasn't really close to her father, so maybe that's her way of coping with that. She asked him how important race was to him. He said that he didn't care, and he just didn't care about her looks, and they could just dip off right now. He'll propose to her right now. If you want to leave, we could just go right now, because that's how much I care about you. I'm just letting you know. I'm laying it all out there right now. All of it was some BS. Y'all, this man is a sociopath, psychopath, narcissist, maniac. I don't know what y'all want to call it. But he literally told the exact same thing, verbatim, to another woman in the pods, Amber. Now, I don't understand why they didn't play those scenes of him saying that. But I have to believe it, because why else would this woman come in randomly lying and saying exactly what Matt told to AD? So clearly this was he was feeding them both the same lie. It's just sick what he did, especially when she brought up the fact that her father was gone. Like, that was just so wrong of him. Like, so she ended up confronting him and saying, well, there was another girl that said you said something similar to what you said to me. And immediately he was like, Amber, caught, but claimed that wasn't the case, claims that what he said to AD was much deeper, and never told that girl he was going to leave with her. And he never told Amber that he was going to call his mom and tell her about AD. But I just don't understand why that girl would just come in the room lying unprovoked and saying exactly what you said. Like, does she have a bug in the room listening to y'all? He's completely gaslighting and manipulating her, right? So clearly Matt is trash. So he kind of pushed her back in the arms of Clay, who she knows isn't a good candidate either. So he came in apologizing because the whole weight thing didn't go over well, and he knew he messed up, so he had to apologize, period. She opened up to him about the Matt situation, saying that Matt was telling both of them the same things. And, he was just more mad of who it was. When he first got mad, I was like, okay, I probably wouldn't want to hear all of that about what you got going on with somebody else either, right? But he said himself he has a huge ego. That's what truly bothered him. And then when he found out who it was, he really couldn't take it. He got up, he started pacing the room. He couldn't sit down. He was getting loud. He was cussing. He was, completely being childish and overreacted to the situation, because all of y'all are dating different people. You had to know what you were signing up for, and at least she was being honest with you. So, after dealing with these two nut jobs, she came in venting to the ladies. So she finally told Amber what Matt said, that he wanted to run off with her, leave and propose with her. And so they compared notes and found out that he was saying the exact same thing to one another. I'm just glad they didn't turn on each other. I'm glad that situation didn't come to that point. And Amber, it's crazy. Amber was so hurt and embarrassed that she just left. And I don't even blame her. I would have left too. It's like the same situation from last season with Uche and I forgot the girl's name. But when she left, I wish she would have just stayed gone and didn't talk to that man ever again. That's what she should have just done. It's funny, like, that's happening on the women's side. Meanwhile, on the men's side of things, y'all know Clay is already mind boggled that Matt is even a contender when it comes to AD. And so Matt is sitting there glaring at him from across the room. Clay could not take it. He's very insecure. You could see it. He's almost like a little boy. He could not take the fact that she could possibly be interested in someone that he couldn't possibly think would be in his league. So then she goes back and meets up with Matt. The fact that she still was giving him the time of day told me everything I needed to know. He came in basically crying about Amber and the fact that she left. And he started going on about he's upset that he hurt both of them, but America loves a comeback story and they're going to be on his side. And literally exposing himself for just wanting clout and just wanting to be on TV. So I guess he thought this was going to be a big dramatic moment of him leaving and running after Amber. Was he an actor? Like, something about that felt staged, because you can't be that disconnected from reality to think that by making one girl go home and another girl is here confronting you about, you know, what you said to both of them to upset them and hurt them and embarrass them, but you think throwing that in the one girl's face to go after the other one is going to make America love you? Like, some people are very delusional. But he ended up breaking it off with AD, and I was just like, what am I watching here? Like, I can't even believe AD gave him the satisfaction of letting him do that. Like, you shouldn't even gave him another chance to say another word to you. He really showed that he didn't care anything about her feelings at all and claimed it was all about Amber. He needs to go get her back. I was disgusted. But that's it for these 2 episodes, you guys. Let me know what y'all think about it down below. I would love to hear your opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.